everybody. Welcome back. It is FEM Talk Tuesday, you guys. And guess what? Tonight, we are going to be honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As you guys may or may not know, yours truly, I am breast cancer free. I don't like saying survivor because I'm not getting it again. And I'm claiming that, you guys. So, we are this month, in the month of October, we are honoring women's health. We're going to be talking a lot about women's health. So tonight we are focused on breast health. Try to say that 10 times fast. We are focused on breast health and breast cancer. All right. So I am going to bring in the beautiful ladies of FEM Talk, and we are going to get this conversation going. Here we go. We have Brandy, the connector, and it looks like I am frozen here a little bit. All right, you guys, give me a moment here because something is happening. We are frozen. What is going on here? I'm trying to bring in Shima Shishi Talk. So if you guys can hear me out there, let me know. All right, we've got Brandy up on the screen. Here we go. How are you, Brandy? And Shima Shishi Talks is here. And I can't hear a thing. Let's see what's going on here. Let me add Shima Shishi Talks to the screen. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure what's happening here. It is saying, okay, here we go. We've got Shima Shishi Talks there.
Hello.
And we've got Melissa Girl Bossed Up when she comes in. And it looks like the stream is just, I don't know what's happening here. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Because I cannot hear you.
We can hear you.
Yes, I am going to do that. So you guys take it away. Tell the audience what we're going to be covering tonight. You know, take it away, and I'll be right back.
Hey. Breast Cancer Awareness Day. I mean, well, this is October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes,
and Women's Health Month. You know, one of the things that I know a lot of women have done because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month is many women, they make their annual appointment in October so that there's constant reminders of what you should be doing. So I know for me, I have my annual around this time also. And, you know, it's something that a lot of women need to just always do. I mean, if we don't do anything for ourselves in our own busy lives, so many of us, I forgot. I remember a couple of years, I had forgotten about it. My, OBGYN was looking at me like, you forgot? Not a cool thing to forget. So I know for a lot of women, if you haven't made your appointments, if you have gone by, raise your hand. Come on, admit it. If you have gone through without, a whole year and haven't done it, this is the best month to book it. Because now every year in October through Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you will start doing this, having your appointment. So put your hands up if you need to get your appointments.
I will be doing it this week. We have a little sister friends chat, and one of our sister friends was just saying how much, so much is going on, and we love each other. We haven't seen each other, and I just want to tell you I love you. And we're all chiming in. And then one of them, which she was supposed to be on with us tonight, she said, have you ladies been checked? Did everybody have their appointment? The chat goes a little silent for a minute because now everybody like, I was like, no, I didn't, but I will be planning. I will make my appointment this week. I promise. So yeah,
awesome.
Just do it. I'm gonna try to go. I don't go live, but I will take a picture because some people just need a little push and a little encouragement.
Because I know. How about you, Brandy? You have your appointment made, or you have your annual time you've done it?
I have not, but I'm due to go see my endocrinologist as well as my OBGYN soon anyway. So I'll make it happen, Kathy.
All together. That's right.
There you go.
Welcome, Sister Queen Kathy.
Hello.
Yes.
She was like, who is this?
I know.
I got the comments pulled up like I'm supposed to.
There you go. And you know what the crazy thing is? And I know a few years ago, well, I've been doing, obviously we've been doing this for years now. And just when you think everything's just kind of normal, I remember probably about 3 years ago now, maybe 4. I went for my annual, and they said, I said,
Well,
Then they went and took some more. They said, well, we're going to take a couple more pictures. And, I went,
right.
So they took a couple more. Yeah, and so, you get that silent pause. And I got a silent pause. And they said, well, you know what? We think we want to go and have somebody else look at this. I said, really?
Yeah,
and
really
already the palpitations start. But long story short, thank God, I had to get, actually I got not a biopsy, aspiration, when they put the needle in to check some of the fluids and stuff like that. I mean, thank God everything came out well, but you don't know when you go in, because your body changes so often. And
Right.
and I remember just being, I felt confident, but at the same time, I was also grateful that I had gone. And in my head, I said, God forbid something, was there. You know what I'm saying? How many, how long do we take to find out if we're not at least on top of our annual, our annual reviews? So.
I was going to say, even when you do your own breast exam, because I have to be honest, I don't do it often. But I every now and then I'll just check just to see. And the thing about, like you said, keeping those appointments, especially the OBGYN one, let's say you don't check or you don't feel around on yourself. At least not only you're going to go to the OBGYN and get, your other lady parts checked, but that at least will be one time when he is going to give you a good check.
Exactly.
Sorry, mine is a he. That's why I said he. He is going to give you a good check.
Yeah.
So we want to promote the fact that you should be checking yourself thoroughly, but we know how life gets.
I mean,
but doesn't it give you an excuse?
Doesn't give you an excuse. And I'm glad you mentioned checking yourself thoroughly, because if I know years ago I learned how to check myself, and they raise your hand and they put your hand all the way around, and they show you how to do that, and you can YouTube that these days. And you should be real familiar with your own body, because it's that quick that you could have a change. And a lot of times, I know, especially depending on women and our cycles, that does take changes. I know, again, I remember a time, earlier, young, at least 10 years ago, where again, it was one of those, I wonder what that is. And, at the end of the day, they said it was some fatty deposits. But again, because I was able to check myself, understood what my body, we should be real intimate with our own. If nobody ain't intimate with your body,
you don't know you.
You better be intimate with your body. You need to know what's going on in your body and be really comfortable checking yourself. And feeling around in yourself. I'm not talking about playtime. That's another time. That's another conversation. But you should be
FEM Talk conversation.
FEM Talk. Hello. But you should at least be familiar with how your breasts, how your breasts look, how your breasts feel. Like I have lumpy breasts, in a sense where you could often feel that. But I should know the difference between a lump, my regular breast feel, and then something that feels different.
Something that's odd, right?
That's so important to understand. Look who came to visit us today.
Who came back?
Note to self, everyone: always restart your computer before you get on a live stream.
And you're not using on your web browser.
That's right. That's right. So listen, lesson learned tonight, because I barely shut down my laptop, right? And it was telling me that nothing was connected, and I'm looking at my Wi-Fi and I'm like, everything is strong. So what's going on?
When's the last time you updated your Windows?
Right, that part right
Come
there,
on,
Brandy.
Brandy, the
I
connection.
need
Tech,
Tech
man.
Connect right now, Brandy. I need Tech
That's
Connect.
right.
Coming up later, you guys. So make sure that you are here for Tech Connect a little bit later. But I was, as I was restarting my computer and checking everything out, I was listening to you guys on my phone. So wonderful ladies of FEM Talk. I don't want to stop you, Mimi, because you were on a roll just now. So continue with that, and I'll just chime in as you keep
Yeah, no, but and I think, and Tracy, you could, as a matter of fact, we'll interview you today because you'll be our special guest.
Yes.
Because it's important to know,
going.
how did you go about? Because I was just sharing with everyone, it's so important to know your own body, know
Mhm,
when things in your body just don't feel right.
mhm.
The other day, quote unquote, I took a spill, and I knew after I took the spill, yeah, I know Shima. After I took the spill, I said, something don't feel right.
Mhm,
We should be intimate. And I was just talking about how being intimate, especially with your breasts, being
mhm.
intimate with your body, understanding that. How did you come to find out that something wasn't right? Like what happened for you to even go to the next step to your doctor? Was it through an annual exam that you discovered that there was something wrong with your
Yeah.
body?
Yeah, so it wasn't through an annual exam. Actually, I was in the shower and had a sharp pain in my right breast. I was
Mm.
like, something is not quite right there. And I'm very proactive when it comes to going to the doctor. So if I feel something that's not right, that's not normal, that doesn't happen on a regular basis, right, or just doesn't seem right to
Right.
me, I will go to the doctor. So that's what I did. I went to the doctor, and absolutely love my OBGYN from New Jersey. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to miss him being here in North Carolina. Me, Shima and I share the same OBGYN there in New
Awesome.
Jersey. But he's
Awesome.
amazing, right? So he said, okay, well, I don't think there's cause for concern. However, let me send you for a mammogram. It wasn't even my time for a mammogram, and I was getting them on a regular basis. I was getting them annually, but it wasn't even my time for a mammogram. But he said, let me just send you just to make sure. Let's see what's going on. And when I went for the mammogram, they actually didn't really say much there, right, at the
Mm.
radiology place. But when my doctor got the results back, it was inconclusive.
Mm.
Back to see what was going
Wow.
on, and lo and behold, when I went back for the second time, they did the 3D examination, and they saw that there were tumors in my right breast, very
Wow.
small. And my doctor said to me, he said, it's not common for you to feel any pain at that stage of breast cancer with your tumors being as small. There were two of them though. He said, but it's not common for you to have any pain. So listen, that was God. That was really God telling me to pay attention to my body, telling me that something was there and something was wrong.
Exactly. But again, and just I want all the women to hear that.
Hmm.
You were in the shower and felt a pain.
Hmm.
And I think it's so, hey, Kathy, I think it's so important to understand. I hear so many people say, oh, I'm in pain. Oh, I don't feel good. So what are you doing? Nothing.
Hmm.
I hear so many people kind of ignoring when their body is talking. Hey, mama, that's mama shout out there. When people are when your body is talking to you, our body talks to us. If it's not your head, if it's not your limbs, your
That's
breath
right.
was making, he said most people don't feel pain.
That's right.
I bet you some people do and ignore it.
That's right.
Or don't identify that
Mhm.
that this I'm feeling something different.
That's right.
And then from feeling something different, I'd be able to tune into that and say, let me go to the doctor, let me check this out.
Yeah.
And I think that was, like you said, I think God gave you revelation,
Mhm.
allowed you to feel something different,
Mhm.
and really take that into the next step. And
Yeah.
even to the next step, because a lot of people then, like you
Mhm.
said, they take one test, don't get anything, get scared, and don't go back for the second.
I was going to say,
That's
fear
right.
kicks in. It even kicks in sometimes before the test. Oh, I feel that. Oh, I don't
Mhm.
want to know what that is.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
I'm not going to take the next step.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
I've
And
heard
I
women
just say
do
to
that.
women, that is never the route to go. You always
Exactly.
want to know because early detection in anything, breast cancer and anything else, is always better. And you need to be well informed. There may be things that you can do if you are scared of surgery, if you're scared to be in the hospital. If you catch it early enough, you may not even have to go that route, but early detection is always the best
That's
detection.
right.
And Melissa was talking about some signs, right? So if you feel a pain like I did, go to the doctor. If there are rashes, if there are headaches, if you're feeling some dizziness, some nausea, go to the doctor. There's always signs, fever. The body will give you clues. So you want to make sure that you're taking those clues before it gets too bad, right? If you're having, shortness of breath, whatever that is, for whatever illness it is, you want to make sure that you are going to the doctor, finding out what's wrong so that you can take care of it early, and not have to deal with, something major on the back end. So be proactive about that.
I love what
Right.
saying that, Tracy, because there are signs of illness. You mentioned fever. Fever is a clear indication to virus.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel fever, I'm gonna mention another one a lot of people don't want to talk about: going to the bathroom infrequently or too frequently.
Yes.
Also, clear signs that something is not right.
Yeah.
Especially if you are quickly passing food through your system.
Yeah.
That's another sign your body is talking to you. Listen to your body speak.
Yeah.
And, look, and again, we're not trying to create hypochondriacs or people that are overly, something's, but we know when something's different.
That's
There's
right.
a feeling you get. There's things that, like you said, it could be headaches, frequent headaches, you know what I'm saying? I was just talking to, I was talking to a friend, and they were saying that this person, because they had a high tolerance for pain, had been experiencing headaches for over like months, even almost a year.
No.
Finally, because it was just it had escalated. Finally, went to the doctor after a year.
Yeah.
And clearly things were found. I won't say what.
I want to speak to that too, even as it relates to the breast health, right? Because I am a person who also has a very high tolerance for pain. So I'm going to give you the precursor to the breast cancer. I've been a person who has had some really bad cycles, right? Losing a lot of blood for the majority of my life since basically since the cycle started, right? So I'm a 9-10 dayer, right?
Wow.
And I bleed a lot. I lose a lot of iron, and I'm really, my estrogen is really high, and it has been for a very long time. That was the precursor. So I can remember a few years prior to finding out that I had breast cancer, I went through this. I was at work. I was working in New York City. I was at work, and just lo and behold, it just happened to be at that particular time period. My brother was working in New York City, also a block away from where I was working. But I was in New York working, and I excused myself, went to the ladies' room, but I was experiencing this pain. It was excruciating to the point where we had, in the little vestibule in the ladies' room there, we had a bench, and I couldn't move. I sat on the bench and I could not move. And I remember actually one of the guys on my team, he came and knocked on the women's door because he was concerned. And he was like, "We didn't know where you were. We were looking for you. Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Listen, here's my brother's number. Call him. I got to get out of here. I don't know what's going on." Which is what led me to my great OBGYN. But that was the precursor to breast cancer. It really was. And that's the time period that I found out where I had so much estrogen, that I was really high estrogen, that my body was hormonally, I guess for most people, it would have been out of whack. So that was the precursor. Then, years later, I got pregnant and got tested again. And they said, "Listen, your test results are coming out." Like, I was pregnant at 35, right? Going into 36. And they said, "Your test results are coming out like you're 25. So hormonally, that's where my body is. Lo and behold, that's why I'm 50 still getting the cycle. But this was the precursor for breast cancer.
Yeah,
right?
high estrogen. They talk about estrogen levels when it comes to breast cancer. Again, things that we should know. But I bet you the average woman come on,
Mhm.
may not even know what levels they have in terms of
Exactly.
estrogen
Right.
and
Exactly.
testosterone. Yes, we do have testosterone, but we might not be aware of those things. And I think understanding those things is going to be so important for us to kind of locate where our body is. We should have breast histories and history of our cycles so that we can talk, because
Mhm.
it's those cycles and it's those history that, or family history, all those kind of things add to the conversation so that
Absolutely.
detection can happen at an early time.
Absolutely. So I
So
want
one
to
of
be
the
able to.
biggest,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shima.
I was going to say, one of the things that you want to also say to the women is just, it's not a set rhyme or reason. It's no, when you say know your body and be able to respond, just first, like you said, when you feel the pain, acknowledge that there's pain
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. Oh, I felt that. So then you question, what is that? So if you can't
Exactly.
answer what it is
Mm-hmm.
and when the last time that happened or how
Mhm.
often has it happened,
Mm-hmm.
now you monitor. It's not a panic situation.
That's
We're not
right.
trying to send you right into, well, I got to get all this testing done. You do want to get yourself checked out, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing your body means knowing your body.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
means knowing what you feel, remembering what you felt before,
That's right.
if you've ever felt it before.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are the
good.
first things. That's a part of that whole precursor. Like you said, you're
Yeah.
in so much pain and you've never been in pain before. And I'm
Mhm.
sure at that moment you asked yourself, what is this? And when did this happen ever? Or
Right.
last?
Right.
But you
Right.
knew it had never happened before.
That's
That's so
right.
good.
That's
That's
But
so
right.
it's an
good.
added benefit to knowing your body too. And the better you know your body, the better you can guide your doctor to where you need to be first
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
because if
Know
you're like, I
yourself.
just have pain, and you're like, where? And it's like, well, it's sort of in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Can you pinpoint it? Does it hurt when you do this or when you do this?
Yeah.
That's right. And I love that you said that too, because we need to have those honest conversations with our doctors. Don't be scared to tell your doctors what's going on, whatever that is. You need to be able to tell them the truth, be honest about what's happening with your body so that they can help you. And you guys, I'm going to say this before we're going to go to commercial break though after this, but I want to say this too. Educate yourself some as well. Do your homework, do some research, and then be able to go ask the questions. You are your own advocate in your doctor's office. Make sure that you are always doing some research that so that you can go to the doctors equipped to ask the questions about what's happening in your body or what you may think is happening, and then they can set you on the right path, right?
Right.
That's
Okay,
good.
so
Ask
we're
the
going to go to commercial break and we're going to come back with Tech Connect because you guys, I needed Tech Connect today. So we're going to go to commercial break and then we will be right back with our very own Brandy the Connector with Tech Connect. Here we go, you guys.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Connect with the Connector. So today we are actually going to be talking about tips to avoid getting hacked, okay? So a lot of people in my circle, outside of my circle, have been getting hacked. So I have here 7 tips that you can use to avoid getting hacked easily. So, Tracy, if you could throw my slides up. There we go. So, tips to avoid getting hacked with Coach BJ. Yes, you got Coach BJ right now because this stuff is important, y'all. I'm tired of everybody getting hacked and having to change up accounts and stuff just because there's simple things that aren't common knowledge to keep an eye out for, right? So, as most people know, the easiest way to get hacked nowadays is through Messenger and texts. So, tip number 1, don't click random links. This is extremely important when it comes to text and Messenger, especially as I just stated. Messenger in particular, when it gets hacked, has anybody ever received a message that's like, hey, how you doing today? And it's somebody that you know, but you're not paying attention to the context in which they're contacting you, and you might not catch that it's not them. So if they suddenly do that and then ask you a random question out the blue, asking about money or a password or anything like that, it would be in your best interest to confirm who that person is. For instance, my sister Queen Michelle Hardy reached out to me not too long ago. It's like, hey, what's your Cash App? Now, I know Michelle. I love Michelle. But I was like, people get hacked all the time. Michelle, when's the last time you saw me? At what event? And I asked her another question that she would only know. She answered the question, and at that point, I became comfortable enough to share my Cash App information with her via Messenger. But when you take that step, you protect yourself, but you also are able to quickly alert somebody to if and when their account's been hacked, if they're not able to ask questions like that, or if they suddenly block and delete you. So keep an eye out for that. Tip number 2, confirm links. Links sent to you should end in a legit domain name, .com / .org / .co / any of these, and there are others. But you want to make sure it ends in a / immediately after the whatever. If it says .coach, .dm / that's something you might want to avoid clicking on. A complicated series of letters, numbers, and symbols can follow the / and still be a legitimate link. But you got to make sure that the .com or .org or .gov doesn't have another .whatever behind it. That's a good way to tell if a link is legitimate or not. So tip number 3 is carefully read communications. Hackers are frequently foreign and often misspell words and misuse English grammar. So when you're reading a communication and it says, hello, Mr. So-and-so, very nice day to you, and that's not your typical way of speaking English or your typical way of receiving communications, you might want to take a closer look at that email or whatever it is that you're reading. Because oftentimes in that email, you're going to have a random link that says, oh, we found a problem with this account. Click the link to resolve the issue. Don't do that. You'll find out why a little bit later. So tip 4, don't share sensitive info. Photos of credit cards, ID, social security numbers, non-public email addresses, and phone numbers or passwords, especially on Facebook or Instagram Messenger. Like, don't ever do that. Use text or preferably a secure email method if you must share this kind of sensitive info. Tip number 5, protect yourself electronically. Get an antivirus protection service and identity theft coverage if you can afford it. I myself use Norton LifeLock as the service that I use, and I've included the link https / us.norton.com, or you can simply go to Google, type in Norton, and it'll take you to the official site. And look at the whole link. When somebody sends you a link, if it's something that you're able to inspect, and oftentimes you can inspect the link before you ever click on it and open it. You just need to right click and hit inspect. But if you don't have time to do that, if you happen to click a link without actually paying attention, and the first thing you see in the top corner is HTTP, and you don't see that little lock in the top corner, that means it's an unsecure site. Get the heck off of there until you confirm that that site is okay to be on. Otherwise, you might be opening yourself up for trouble. And tip number 7, just general advice. If you're not sure about the source of a link and it's about an account that you hold, whether it's your Amazon account, Facebook, Netflix, your bank account, etc., go directly to the account through the app on your phone or use a web browser on your laptop or even your phone if there's an issue, because you'll be able to tell from the account itself, not through that communication that you just received. Oftentimes, we click on a communication believing what we see because it alarms us for a reason. They try and scare us and make it urgent for a reason, so you just automatically click and say, oh, gotta fix this now, and you end up actually giving them exactly what they're after. So never click a link in an email or text that you are at all, even a little bit, unsure about. So with that, I want you guys to remember, it's easy to avoid getting hacked if you but pay attention. Oftentimes, hackers take over people that we know, like, and love's accounts and reach out to us. I've had it happen multiple times. It's no fun when it happens. I've seen people have to start accounts over multiple times. And again, it sucks when it happens, but it can definitely be avoided. So if you guys have any additional questions about this particular topic, feel free to reach out. You can drop them in the comments, or you can actually message me directly, or you can actually email me at brandyproservices.com. hello@brandyproservices.com, and ask me any question you come up with as far as preventing yourself from being hacked, or any other questions about different electronics or anything that comes to mind in regards to computers, audio, visual, setting up podcasts. There's a lot of knowledge in here that I'm willing to share if you but ask. And with that, that is the end of my segment, Tech Connect with the Connector, and back to the show.
Hey, everybody. We are back to the show. Wasn't that wonderful? Brandy with Tech Connect gave you all the information. I hope that you guys were taking notes on how not to get hacked. All right, you guys. So before I move on, I want you guys to make sure you saw that wonderful commercial. Make sure that you go to www.wenextshima.com and donate. They are going to Africa in January, so there is still time to help the beautiful ladies of Kenya build their business. All right, you guys. So we are talking about women's health. Breast health, you guys, is the topic for today. And this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm going to bring the ladies back in. We've got, you just saw Brandy the Connector. She talks. Mr. Girl Boss Up. So, you guys, before we go dive too deep into the conversation, because it was getting good, we were talking about, listening to your body before we went on commercial break and had that wonderful segment from Brandy. But I wanted to give some stats on breast cancer. And this came from breastcancer.org, and they are getting their information from the American Cancer Society and also the World Health Organization. So there are about 1 in 8 women in the U.S., about 13% that they say will develop invasive breast cancer over the course of her lifetime. Okay. And they estimated in the early 2021, they estimated that 281,000 approximately new cases of invasive breast cancer were expected, about 49.2 new non-invasive cases. Okay, so as of January of 2021, there were more than 3.8 million women with a history of breast cancer, either invasive or non-invasive, right? And the most common cancer diagnosed globally is breast cancer, actually, for 2021. one, and that came from the World Health Organization. So I just wanted to mention some of these things because it's so prevalent in society today across the world. Breast cancer, particularly in women. Now, men do get breast cancer as well, but their numbers are very low. And a lot of that has to do with women's hormones, right? So hormones and age are a big factor in breast cancer. So they say the most common risk factors are being women and age, right? So and then the stages actually are based on how far the cancer cells have spread beyond the origin of the tumor, and then also the size, right, of the tumors and the tumor's characteristics. Okay, so these are some stats on breast cancer, you guys. Breast cancer is always caused by a genetic mutation. You
Mm.
guys didn't know that, right? They call it a mistake, right? So it's when
Mm.
something is happening in your cells, right? They call it a mutation or a mistake that is happening that will cause cancer. Usually, most cancers are formed that way. If you're not bringing anything into your body from the outside that can actually give you cancer, it is a mutation of your cells. Otherwise, so
Mm.
you do have the body creates these issues, and a lot of times that happens with age, which is why they say one of the biggest risk factors is age, because it can happen with age. And I know that when I was going through it, I was trying to figure out, like, well, I'm not doing anything. I don't smoke. I barely drink. Like, what is happening? You know, I eat. I used to eat like crazy, though. I will tell you that. But I was trying to figure out what is going on, which is what most people say. But when you understand that it's just a mutation and it can happen to any of us,
Anybody.
then you really
Right.
understand where cancer really comes from. So, that being said, I do want to say this as well. There are ways to protect those cells, okay? And it comes in the simplest form. Now, it is not an end all and be all. Nothing is. You don't know if you're going to get cancer or not. So, don't worry about it, right? It's not something that you should be at home sitting around worrying about. But there are things that you can do to protect your body, and it comes through the form of eating healthy whole foods. You guys know I'm going to say this, but this is the case. Eating healthy whole foods, exercising, minimizing your stress levels, right? And then it also has a lot to do with your gut health. Shima and I are actually doing a cleanse right now to protect our gut health. We are clearing out the bad so that we can bring in all of the vital vitamins and nutrients that we need from our food, and we are eating good food at the moment. But gut health particularly is very important. And I was actually reading today from Dr. Sanjay Gupta, which I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but yeah, very famous doctor out there, right?
Yes,
Who is
right.
normally called in to comment on things. He wasn't talking about cancer, but he was talking about how to protect your body in general,
Mhm.
right? And these were some of the things that he was actually naming. So if you guys have started to eat better and exercise and do those things that help you protect your body, and he talked about gut health as well, these are the
Right.
things you need to protect your body from illness. All right. So I want you
The
guys to
things within your control. That's
change
Right.
your habits.
I got a question.
Exactly. Yes.
So, with as hectic and stressful as
Mhm.
last year with COVID and everything was, do you think
Mhm.
that cancer numbers are possibly going to be affected negatively because of the additional
I think
stress?
so.
Absolutely. So when you and here goes another thing. When you talk about people who started to mention that they got the COVID-20 or the COVID-30 because they were eating things that they probably would not have normally eaten if they were not sitting in the house, right? Those things do have implications on your health. So when you talk about the cellular level, right? When you start to eat things that invade your body, they start to stress out your cells. And that's how those mutations can start to happen.
Right.
If you don't have enough oxygen in your cells for your cells to be healthy, then those mutations start to happen. And then you start bringing in other chemicals and things that make your cells suffocate, to put it easy, right? If they make your cells suffocate, then those mutations will start to happen. And as you get older, when your hormone levels are changing and your skin is changing and your body just, you may have trouble with water, or you may have trouble defecating, or whatever that case may be, ridding toxins out of your body, then your cells suffer a lot more. So you want to make sure that you are, doing things that are allowing your body to thrive. But yes, Brandy, I do believe that COVID will contribute to other illnesses, cancer and other things like
So
diabetes and
many.
heart
Yeah.
disease and things like that, because people were just doing things that, I guess, I'm going to say, comforting themselves maybe with food or things that may not be so healthy. So yes,
Right.
I do
That's
think.
right.
I do have something to add to the conversation as
Hmm.
far as breast health, and something else it might also help you flag if you're
Hmm.
like me. Um, did when they caught my pituitary gland tumor,
Hmm.
my cycle had stopped, but my breast would stay sensitive as
Hmm.
if my cycle was starting for
Hmm.
2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Hmm.
Mm.
Mm,
So
Hmm.
if you're experiencing that issue, definitely go see your OBGYN about that
That's
as well,
right.
because it could be overproduction of prolactin is what generally happens if you
That's
have
right.
a small pituitary gland tumor. And if you do, they're typically benign. They're just there and wreaking havoc. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
an easy fix, but you first have to, well, it's an easy fix if you go get checked out.
Yeah.
right.
If you wait, it could be it could require surgery, but again, the tumor is typically benign, and the surgery is
Yeah.
it's not a big deal, but it is because it's surgery.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not a death sentence or anything like that.
Right.
So
Right.
again, the breast health can be a telltale indicator as to what's going on with you, whether it's cancer related or not.
Right.
That's a good
Absolutely.
point.
That's
And,
it.
and even though you also mentioned COVID, but
Hmm.
a lot of what happened also because of COVID, many women, talking about your annual breast exam, many women stopped going.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Many people did not have an annual exam last year.
Yeah.
So numbers on detections were actually down,
Yeah.
not because there was no more cancer,
Yeah.
because a lot of people did not go to the doctor. So to pick that up now, to make sure you go back to your doctor,
That's right.
it's so important to again make that appointment. If it's now, then make it, because um, that's what they're also finding is that numbers for other, to your point, Tracy, for other things are now being detected because
Hmm.
last year, because of COVID, everybody
Hmm.
kind of, doctor offices taking only emergencies. And even now to this day, I know doctor's office, you can get back in, but it's very regulated,
Hmm.
and there's no one
Right.
in a waiting room and all that kind of stuff. I mean, takes a
Right.
little bit more patience, but again, you need to go back. You need to
That's right.
get
Right.
that test in so that you make sure that you are covered. So,
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So sit in your car and wait for the doctor to
I
call
was gonna
you.
say.
It is okay. It is
Right.
okay. Just
It's
make sure that
fine.
you go back, make those appointments. So if you
Yeah.
haven't gotten anything else today, make your appointments, go get yourself checked out, and make sure that everything is okay. So I wanted to talk about treatments and side effects too when it comes to breast cancer and breast health, right? So there are many treatments out there. I want to preface this by saying the treatment that is best for you is what you decide for yourself. You
mhm.
have to. We talked earlier about knowing your own body. When you recognize and know your own body, nobody can tell you what treatment you're supposed to get. The treatment that you feel is best. If it's a lumpectomy, if it's a mastectomy, if it's radiation therapy, if it is chemotherapy, if it is hormonal therapy, that is something that you have to decide based on your situation, based on you getting all of the information from your doctors and deciding for you and your family what actually works best for you. But there are a lot of different treatments out there. And, some people may agree or not agree with what treatments are out there or not like the effects of those treatments. But listen, you have to, again, do what's best for you. So when it
Mhm.
comes to things like chemotherapy, chemotherapy is there to kill the cancer cells. It does in turn kill some of your good cells as well. So you need to understand, ask your doctor those questions.
Those
What
questions.
effects will it have on your body? Both your internal body, your organs and your cells, and also your external, right? Because there are some external things that happen to your body that you want to make sure that you understand before you go in for treatment as well. I know that when I was going through it, full transparency, right? I want to just say this. I was concerned about whether or not I would have to do chemotherapy and losing my hair. I'm a woman. That it's only natural. I was
That's
very
right.
concerned about that, and I had my bestie over there tell me that she could help me to get through that because there were other ways for me to feel like a woman. So I just want people to get the information and know what your options are. if you have to take a certain route, so say it's chemotherapy, and I'm just mentioning that one, but if you have to take a certain route and you understand what those effects are to your body, just make sure that you understand what your options are too.
Mm-hmm.
I also,
Mhm.
I'm going to be fully transparent with this as well, because I decided to get a mastectomy on my right side. I did the right side only, and I was a little I was being a little aggressive, and I thought that I was going to do the other side as well. But after having conversations with my doctor, she said, "Listen, you're young. I don't necessarily think that you need to do the other side. There's no signs of anything in the other side." So I went with a right side mastectomy, right? But I was also concerned about not feeling like a woman, having a part of my body removed, and I did have,
Mm-hmm.
I did have what do you call it? What am I thinking of right now? I have replacement, right? I have
Mhm.
I have an artificial
Implant.
breast, right? I have implants. Thank you. I don't know why that didn't come to mind, but I just did it at the moment. But I do have an implant there. And it looks somewhat normal. You can't tell in my clothes. However, there is a difference, right? There is a difference in my body from what it was before. And I'm just being fully transparent. So you have to, if you need to speak to someone because you need to understand and I'm talking about a therapist or a coach. If you need a therapist or
Mm-hmm.
a coach that's going to be able to help you through these things so that you can get through it mentally and emotionally, because it is just as mental and emotional as it is physical. Go out there and get that help that you need for yourself as well, because there are things that you may have to decide for your body that you may not necessarily feel so comfortable with. So I just decided to take that drastic route, because I didn't want to go through chemotherapy and I didn't want to go through radiation. So a mastectomy was a way for me to avoid
Mhm. Mhm.
both. So I didn't have to do that. So
That's so, and Tracy, I like how you said get help and get a coach. I don't think
mhm,
people even think that way
mhm,
in
No.
regards to when they have if it's breast cancer or so many other different things happen in their body.
mhm,
It's so important to have somebody help you, and not everybody that could help you is a medical professional.
mhm,
Women, there's so many different organizations, but there's other people who have gone through what you have walked your steps,
mhm,
or the steps
Mhm.
that you're about to walk through, and
mhm,
they could coach you in terms of helping you. um, Knowledge is power. Finding out the information,
mhm.
having options. I'm so glad you talked about the options and what was best for your life. I
Yeah,
think sometimes out of fear, people just assume this is the route you have to take. Like
yeah.
you said, chemotherapy is such a, everybody knows of it, but a
Mhm,
lot of people are not aware of hormonal therapy, and a lot of people
mhm,
are not aware of, even surgical methods to help along the situation. But you're,
mhm.
being able to know and have those options, and
Yeah.
there's so many different other studies being done
Mhm,
now. A lot of people you could participate in a study
mhm,
depending on the type of breast cancer you have. So
mhm.
there's
Yeah.
and there's medications that you can take that
Yeah.
may not that may bypass you. A lot of things
Mhm.
are bypassing you now from not having to immediately go to chemotherapy, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of medication therapies that people are using now.
That's right.
Again, the good thing about um, uh, um, um, breast cancer in particular is that they've been so much research on it.
That's
There's
right.
so much
Yes.
information of it, and now
Advancement.
there's so many options. It's just not a one
Absolutely.
and done anymore.
Yeah,
More women are living, and so, like you said, surviving and thriving
that's
and
right.
into their next life. In terms of what their new life is about and their
Mhm,
new normal is about.
mhm,
And
Mhm.
I think it's so important for people to understand that, because I think when you hear there was a day
mhm,
where when you heard cancer, it was almost like a death sentence.
mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm,
And
mhm.
these are not those days. And
Yeah,
it's so
Mhm.
important that you research, like you said,
yeah,
coach, find
Mhm.
somebody to walk you through some of this stuff. I
yeah.
love
And
that,
Hey,
And
Tracy.
I
Tracy.
like
I can
that
make
you said
I,
that you make the decision for you.
yeah,
I love that
yeah,
because there's no cookie cutter.
yeah.
That's right.
And from this perspective, I'm not someone who had to deal with it, but from the visual, from the seated position, from the
Mhm,
audience position,
mhm,
I've watched my best friend and another very close friend take
mhm,
two very different routes
mhm.
to
And
becoming healthy and whole
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
Very different. One way more drastic than the other.
Yeah.
But the same toll on the bodies, the same toll on the mind, the same questions about being a woman.
Yeah.
And they pick two totally different ways to handle it.
Yeah.
But, and I'm going to say this, what they did was they chose to fight.
Yeah.
No matter how it looked for them and for me and us who are in the audience, they chose to fight their way, but they fought.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. And I would say that, thank you for saying that, because I would say that with anything, right? Not just breast cancer, because, you can't talk about these things in a bubble. Fight, you guys, fight. Melissa talked about, breast cancer has come so far. Technology has come so far. Medicine has come so far. The introduction of holistic and alternative measures has come far. I don't think it's far enough. I'm just going to say that. However, it is now being introduced. Also, the help is there. I was fortunate enough to go to a hospital that had, kind of like the full scope self-care wrapped into the medicinal practices as well. So there was support groups, there was, massages, to like minimize the stress of it all. And so they did all of this. There was coaches and nurses that you could just go talk to get information. So, there are things out there that you can do to give you peace of mind, not just for you to take care of your physical body, because like Melissa said, a lot plays on your mind, because that word cancer still has that connotation of it being a death sentence. Even though we know that we have come so far, when people hear that word, they still think about that, especially when it's something that you've been diagnosed with. That it does cross your mind. So you want to make sure that you are doing everything holistically to take care of yourself. And there are some really good hospitals out there. So the one thing that I want to say too to people is, when you get a diagnosis, don't be afraid to go for a second opinion. Also, when we talked about, arming yourself with knowledge and doing your own research, if something does not resonate with you, with the physician that you've gone to for the first time, go get a second opinion. And I would say do that anyway, especially when it's an illness where you feel like it could potentially be life-threatening. Get a second opinion. Get yourself armed with all the information that you can get. And doctors come from different perspectives, so you want to get a second opinion out there as well. So I just wanted to say that too. So
I got a question for you, Tracy.
Yeah.
What do you, for those of us that have friends or family that are dealing with cancer, what are some of the best ways that we can keep them lifted and help them through the process?
That's good. I would say just be you, be who you are to them and for them, right? That's the best thing that you can do. I can remember when Shima and Vaughn was on here, actually Vaughn and my friend Stacy, and like everybody was at the house, right? And everybody was crying, and I was like, why are you guys crying? Like, stop it, right? Because I'm gonna be all right. You know what I mean? So just be who you are to that person and for that person, because that's what they need in those moments. Don't make cancer or whatever it is such a big subject that you are not still living life with them. Make it a little bit lighter, because just you talk to them about getting the right information, about getting the help, and about getting the information, what they need for themselves. But then also just be who you are for them. Go see a movie, or sit at home and watch a movie with them, cook with them, or do the things that you would normally do with them to make them still feel whole, and make them still feel like life is still worth living with you the way you normally would. So that's the best advice that I could give. That's what they did. Like, they just came to my house and everybody was just around. And after we got through that first phase of crying, we just ate and we sat and we laughed. We laid on the couch and watched TV. And so,
I gotta be honest now, because everybody who knows me knows I cry for everything. So I had to say to her, I feel bad because that the person who's going through it now is consoling you. But I let her know, listen, I'm gonna keep crying.
Yeah.
But we gonna laugh, we gonna joke, we gonna eat, we gonna watch it. But I'm gonna keep crying until it gets out of my system. And I guess that's part of the support system, or the support that you create for your person or those persons.
Yeah.
Because I had to build up.
Hmm.
I knew that I wanted her to fight, but I knew that in order for me to support her, I had to get that out.
Yeah.
Now, this is as a, a bystander.
Yeah.
As the supporter, let it be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be there for the person.
Yeah.
Don't deny it, because it is something. It's a fight.
Yeah.
So when you get in there and you want to fight with them, you got to be ready too.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it is something for the people that love you. Like it is something for them as well.
It
right?
is.
What
But
advice?
that's how you support them.
I just wanted to mention really quickly, because I have this on the screen. Philip McCormick, thank you for joining us. But he says nonprofits for financial help and less worries. There are organizations out there that will help you. Actually, I actually know someone who I actually interviewed who also had breast cancer herself, and I actually interviewed her last October, who has an organization that she started after having breast cancer, that she goes in, whatever she gets through, and I know this woman, so I know this is what she's doing. She goes in and she helps people with their bills. If somebody has, and she helps with all cancer. She doesn't just do breast cancer, but if there are cancer patients out there, we can get you. It's called the COC, and I'll get all the information for people. If you need it, reach out to us on the Facebook page. I will give you guys that information. All she needs is just proof from your doctor that you actually have cancer, and then you give her those bills, and they will help you take care of them if they have the funds available, which she's doing some amazing things. So thank you, Philip, for mentioning that. That was definitely, there are a lot of organizations out there, but I actually know one in particular from one amazing woman,
and I think
doing it after her own fight.
And like you said, Tracy, I think it comes down to just being real and being there for, Sheem, I love how you said you were going to cry. I think you don't want to be fake. You want to be authentic.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to be authentically a friend, a family member, show that love.
Yeah.
And, and then I love what Philip said. And then, find the financial help. People are willing to help. I was just talking to someone today, and I was like, put your hands up and ask for help. People want to be there for you. I think that's another misnomer, is that, you have to fight things alone. You don't.
Yeah.
You do not have to fight things alone.
Yeah.
And there's support out there. There's, you tap into your friends and your family, and they're there to help you.
Yeah, and I would say, even when you're ready, be able to release it. My bestie down there said to me, like, I was pent up and very private, totally different from where I am right now. But that's all a result of going through that experience. Now I tell it all.
Let it all hang out.
Exactly. But my bestie down there said, if you're the person who's providing the information, what can people really do with that? So it's your story. Make it your story, right? And be able to tell your own story instead of having other people tell it for you. So, and it is therapeutic for you to be able to tell your own story.
It's a purge. That's right. It's
and I was one of the most closed people, right? Very, very private. Not anymore. Everybody knows my story out there now, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Living a wonderful life now. So, you guys, this has been another episode of FEM Talk. We are at an hour. Oh my goodness, how does that happen?
So fast. It's so fast.
Yes. So we appreciate all of you out there. Philip McCormick, Kathy Anderson, and Jeanette, my Aunt Jeanette. We appreciate all of you out there.
And the beautiful Antoinette Marie Williams.
The beautiful Antoinette Marie Williams and Mr. Vaughn Harper, my freshie there. I love you guys. I love all of you. Thank you guys for joining us. And I think I think that's it, you guys. We'll be back next week on FEM Talk, talking more about women's health, you guys. We are getting into this month. All righty. So come back, join us, get more great information on the next topic coming up on women's health. We are here 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys take care.